Hey friends, it's Maddie. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Nonfiction November. So this is a month-long readathon reading initiative that's meant to encourage people to read more nonfiction books. I found out about this from a book Olive last year, and last year all I did was just read some nonfiction in this month. I wasn't following the prompts. I wasn't, really diving into it. I was just kind of getting my feet wet. Well, this year I thought I would try to at least fulfill the prompts and maybe read some other nonfiction during the time. I am not going to be reading not only nonfiction this month because there are a couple books that I want to read this month that are fiction, mainly Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier and One by One by Ruth Ware. So I will be reading those as well as some of these nonfiction books that I'm going to mention. I'm really not going to put too much pressure on myself because it's just books. So we shall see what happens. Okay, so for Nonfiction November, the prompts are single word prompts, and basically you can interpret them however you want. So the words this year are time, movement, buzz, and discovery. Okay, so I sort of have some picked out for these, but I think what I'm going to do is just name the books I want to read and then say which prompts they'll fall under, and I'll pick from there because I really am very much a mood reader, and if I set a TBR, there's a good chance I won't read any of those books. So, the first book that I would like to get to potentially in Nonfiction November is The Five by Hallie Rubenhold. Hallie Rubenhold. This book is about the 5 women who were murdered by Jack the Ripper. And yeah, you just get to go deeper into their lives, find out who they actually are, and it's very intriguing. So I could see this one fitting for the prompt of time because this takes place in a different time than now, 1888. So this takes place then, so that would be a different time. And then I also think this could be under discovery because we're discovering things about these women that we may not have known before. The next book I have is a chunker, so I'm not sure if I will get to it, but it's one I really want to read. It is Shirley Jackson, A Rather Haunted Life by Ruth Franklin. It's big. This book is exactly what it sounds like. It is a biography about Shirley Jackson, the author. This is one that I also think can go for time because it takes place in the past as well. I also think it could go for buzz because I have heard a lot of buzz about this book. And discovery because I am discovering things about Shirley Jackson that I didn't already know. The next book I have is She Said by Jodi Cantor and Meghan Twohey. This book is about the 2 investigative journalists for the New York Times who broke the story on Harvey Weinstein and the whole sexual assault Me Too movement. This book I think could fit for every prompt. So it's about a specific time in history where Harvey Weinstein was doing something. Movement, because this really started the birth of the Me Too movement. This could go for buzz because I have heard so much buzz about this book. It's just like jumped to the top of my list. And then discovery because these 2 women discovered a lot of things about Harvey Weinstein and about Hollywood and kind of broke open the floodgates on that. So, and then the last one I have physically that I might be interested in reading, and then I'll talk about a couple ebooks / audiobooks that I own, is The Half That Has Never Been Told: Slavery and the Making of American Capitalism by Edward E. Baptist. This book is about the half of history that we never learn about. This is about Black American history. This is about history from slavery and onwards, about how Black bodies have been exploited. It's essentially a different interpretation of American history. So I thought this one for sure could go for time because it's talking about a different time in history, and discovery because I think this is something that when I read, I'm going to discover a lot of things I didn't know. Thank you, American education system. Okay, moving on to the 3 books that I don't, well, I actually own one of them physically, but it's in my dad's room, so he's, Another book that I may or may not read during Nonfiction November is The Indifferent Stars Above, The Harrowing Saga of a Donner Party Bride by Danielle James Brown. And this one I specifically picked for movement, but of course it could go for time because it's a historical book. This book is essentially about the Donner Party, who were a group of settlers who were traveling west to California, and they were basically trapped in the Sierra Nevada mountains, and things happened. So I have that one as an audiobook, and I will probably get to that one because I love nonfiction audiobooks. Then I also have Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. This is his memoir autobiography, and I put this one under buzz because I have literally not stopped hearing about this book since it came out, and everyone tells me to listen to the audiobook, so I do have the audiobook and I will be listening to it. Then the last book I have is The Radium Girls, The Dark Story of America's Shining Women by Kate Moore. This book is one that I had for discovery, but I could also see it going for time because these women were working to build watches, the glowing parts of watches. And essentially this book is about how these women were negatively affected because they were working with radium, and they were painting the numbers on watches, and to get the fine point they would put the paintbrush in their mouth, put it in the paint, that the radiated paint which made the numbers glow, and then they would paint it on there, and then they would put it back in their mouth. So they were putting this paint in their mouths, and it's about the things that happened to these women. I actually own this book physically, but I lent it to my dad and it's still in his bedroom, so we'll see if I get it back, but I know it's on Hoopla as well, so I could also listen to this as an audiobook. So those are the books that I think I'm going to be reading for Nonfiction November, or at least the ones I'm going to be choosing from. I do have, I think, 7 books, so that is quite a few, especially when a couple of them are chunkers. We'll see. I'm just trying to read some more nonfiction, and I've really been itching to read some of these, so I think this is the perfect time to do it. So let me know down below, are you thinking about participating in Nonfiction November? Have you read any of these books? What did you think of them? And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content from me. I don't read nonfiction all the time, but I tend to read horror, thrillers, mysteries, with a sprinkling of a couple other things in there. I really do read from nearly every genre, but horror, thrillers, mystery are really my main ones. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will just see you in my next video. Bye.